you.
Yep, looks right.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, just click on the view resource. And by the way, this is how your students are going to do it too. I mean, you
Okay.
already got it there. View resource, the top one, ALEKS. Yeah, at the bottom, right there where the link is at the bottom there. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So this is exactly what your students will do too.
Okay. Do you think they ever have trouble with this kind of thing? I would think not. They're pretty quick with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, some are surprisingly bad with technology. I mean, I sort of force them to
Okay.
deal with it themselves, right? Like, I'll help them a
Mhm.
little bit, but if it gets too much, I'll say call, tech support
Okay.
for computer issues for the most part. One thing
Okay.
you're going to have to worry about a little bit in this class is they should be using Excel. They should not be
Uh-huh.
using numbers. They should not be using uh, Google Sheets, right? Some of
Okay.
the stuff we give them will break if they use. I mean, numbers typically does okay, but Google Sheets will break a lot of stuff. And so try your best to catch that when they're doing the DQs,
Okay.
because the DQs in this class are really designed to get them ready for the major assignments.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, and then there's extra things too that I mean, you can even use some of the resources I have if you want. Anyway, try to catch that early. So, but do expect some people to have issues with tech, right?
Okay.
They're
Okay.
not always super at it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to say no. And by the way, the students should do the same thing. They should typically say, no, I need a new student account, right? So you're going
Okay.
to say, no, I need an instructor account.
Okay. Let me kind of follow my instructions and make sure that I'm finding everything. Okay. If you have not used in this case, click no. Okay.
Yep.
And
If
then
you had you if
continue.
you had used it, it would actually look different here, right? So next time you do it, this sheet won't come up.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
Okay.
And then you have to, I think you're just going to accept all that stuff.
Okay.
And then you got to click the little agree box.
Okay. So, and you say this will not happen in my second course.
I've never seen it happen. For me, it only happened once. So I think this
Okay.
should only happen once. Yeah.
Okay. And then continue.
Mm-hmm. In fact, if you teach another course that uses ALEKS, it probably won't happen again either. Like if you do 154, because now you've got this account that's with that email address, so it should just recognize you. So
Right.
you're
When they were when my scheduler contacted me, she said all that they are in need of right now is just 144. And she said that could change, but she did not anticipate it. Apparent, and you would probably know better. It's 144 that's just skyrocketing, she said.
that's interesting. I mean, I'm actually surprised that they're adjuncting so many 144, but maybe it really is just that many. So yeah, click create.
Okay, let me follow my instructions.
Yeah, you can check just to make sure. But yeah, actually, if you find a mistake in the instructions, let me know.
Let's see. Oh. Um, in the instructions, it says a new ALEKS class, but I'm not seeing that. But then it says create. So you say create is correct.
Yeah, so create a new class. Yeah, don't ever use the copy. You may be tempted to use the copy because it would maybe make things seem easier for you. But sometimes we change the master template. And so if you're just copying old templates, you're not going to get the new templates in there.
Okay.
So do always do it this way, even though it might take a little extra work to set up the class.
It's okay.
Okay.
So if it's my second and third course, never copy.
I would say never copy. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to write that down. Never copy. Always create.
By the way, I think I always have this on recording by default. So if you want this after we're done, you can
I
have a
would
copy too. Okay.
I would love it if you would send it to me. That would be wonderful.
Okay. Yep. So go ahead and click create.
I did.
Did it not? It didn't do it. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry. Create. Yeah, it looked the same to me for a sec. Create a class linked to a master template. Yeah. So where the mouse is, where the pointer is the right one there.
Okay, I'm just looking at the instructions. Everything's here. I kind of think Alex interchanged a couple of the steps.
I mean, they do update things. I mean, this
They
is a problem
do.
with online stuff. Sometimes things get a little bit out of sync. So
Right. It's
you
okay.
should expect things to be close, but not perfect, you
I'm
know?
so glad you offered to do this because that stuff out of order, I would have worried.
Yeah.
If it was my second course, I wouldn't, but my first one, I worry about everything. Okay, create a class linked to master template. Okay.
Okay, and now you're going to select 144, and there should just be one non-traditional 144. So not the trad means traditional. So you're going to
Okay.
go down, look for non-trad down there. So there it is.
Okay. I'm going to write that down.
And we do update this one every so often. The basic name will stay the same, but the date part will change.
Okay, but I would never select trad, the traditional. I would always want non-trad.
That's right.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to end up with a completely incorrect shell.
I would think so. That is not good. Okay.
Now you
Uh,
can unlink. If you make a mistake, you can unlink them, right? So that's
okay.
that's a thing maybe to know.
Okay, so I selected that and then continue.
Mhm. And then you're just going to do create class at
Do
the bottom
not
there.
change, not change. Oh, just go down and
Yep.
create. Okay. That's on the paperwork.
And now go to the ALEKS dashboard. So this is usually just choosing the default each time. The big sort of blue, yeah, that thing.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Okay, so this is another thing that I think will happen just once. That
Okay.
this
Mhm.
little stuff they're doing now will just happen once.
Okay. I'm getting a closed captioning thing. Should I just say next?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean
Just
the closed captioning is from Zoom. I use the same thing when meeting
got
with
it.
students, and I have some students need to read it, and all
Okay.
sorts of things. Yeah,
Got it.
just read these things if you want, but just go through this little. It's like a little tutorial, I suppose,
Okay.
on ALEKS.
Uh, okay. And then finish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now there's things you have to do each time. So I would click on the thing that says class summary. So there's these little sort of squares up here. So I would click into class summary to start with.
Okay. And you say this happens every course.
Yeah, you have to do little tweaks. It's not set up to alter the dates automatically, so you have to do a bunch of things with dates, and you might want to do some stuff with naming and some other things. So
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and click into the one that says class summary there, right under the picture of the textbook.
Got it. Okay. I'm gonna write that down.
And then do the edit class information. It's a very top, the very top. See, it says class information and content, and then there's like a little edit pin thing
Yes.
there. I think this might actually be where you're able to unpair too. So one thing I do is I change these, like the class name. I tend to just knock it down to Math 144. And then for the section, I usually put the date instead of having this this 0502 is kind of meaningless. Like you might have several 0502s, right? So you might want to put the date there instead, so you can recognize which class this is.
Do I
For
want to use maybe the start date?
That's what I do.
Okay.
I take the class name and I just erase everything past the Math 144 and just call it Math 144. And then for the section name, now you could leave it like that because that's got the start date there, right? I usually just put the start date in the section name. That's usually where I put it. But I mean,
See,
you can do whatever you want to do.
I think it starts Monday, so it would be the
Oh, that's
22nd.
right. Yeah, you want to change this. Yeah, so this is part of the thing that doesn't change, right? So yeah, you want to make that 122 24.
I'm
You don't have to put all
actually
that stuff back in unless you want.
I'm actually gonna leave the non-traditional
Okay.
if it's okay.
Oh yeah, this is totally up to you. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can always come back and edit this later if you want to. So you can change these things. I usually set the class dates to actually match more or less the dates of my class. Again, that isn't really that relevant. It just maybe when the students see it on the calendar, it makes more sense to them. So I usually have it start Jan 22 for this one.
Okay.
And then I go look at the class and see when it actually ends. And I set the end date to be about 2 weeks after the official end date of the class. In case you have people with disabilities, you need to be able to extend it, right?
Okay.
Um,
Is there anything wrong with just leaving it as it
No,
is?
you can leave it. It just
Leave it?
what happens is if you get a bunch of these, they won't
Mhm.
automatically archive after a while, so you get this huge long list of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you set the end date, they tend to archive them 2 weeks after the class ends, and so they don't keep showing up on your list, which is kind of nice.
Okay. I'm just gonna jot a couple of things down. Class name, class dates.
Yeah, nothing on this page is mandatory. It's just
Okay.
nice to do some stuff. Go down a little bit. I think this might be where you can unlink if you want to. Is that the bottom of the page? Yeah,
I'm at the
maybe not.
bottom.
Okay, maybe not. I forget where you can unlink. Okay, yeah, just go ahead and push save. Now you can always come back and edit this later. And you can edit it at any time. It doesn't affect what the students are doing if you want
Okay.
to come back and change something. The bigger thing we need to do is set the dates correctly and then
Okay.
you have to make some decisions about how you want to deal with assignments. So go to assignments. And then you have to click again. Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? And here's where you're going to have to. So there's two different kinds of things. Some things are modules. So the homeworks are what's called ALEKS modules. Are you familiar with ALEKS?
Somewhat, we at the other institution, we've never done the pie. It's always been just more like a homework system within ALEKS.
So this is a mix, right? So
Okay.
the modules are the adaptive part, right? And you have to set the dates separately from the way you set the non-adaptive part. So if you click on type, so click at the very top of that list or type, so it'll sort it by type.
Okay.
Yep.
Just click on type.
Yep. So see all the things with that little pie bit, those are the module bits, right? And everything below the reviews and final exam and stuff, those are all the sort of standard homework type parts,
Okay.
right? And we've got to sort of mess with the dates separately on the two things, right? So just go ahead and click into homework one. This is going to allow us to change all the module dates correctly.
Okay. Do we say again, please? We want topic one homework.
Yep. Click there.
Okay.
It's actually going to open up all of them. Is what it's going to do.
Okay.
Okay, and then you can collapse the list of stuff. So you can click on the little that button right next to your mouse, and it'll fold up that thing there. The little I see. It's my mouse, not your mouse. Yeah, go over a little bit to the left, down. Well, no, you went too far. Go back sort of to the right. Go back to the right 1/5 of the page, right? So over. No, further. Yeah,
Oh, I
there,
got it.
right there. Click right there. It'll. Oh, I'm sorry. Click that a second time. There. So they're all folded, right? I just want to see the dates, right? Okay, so now we got to sort of do a bunch of little changes here. So click on the start date. 115 needs to be 122, right? So you're going to change that.
Um,
The one that's in red there, right? You can click anywhere in that red square. I'm gonna change that to 122.
Okay.
The next one you need to change to 128. The one that says 121, right? We're gonna change to Sunday, which is 128.
Okay.
You got to change the next one to 129, right? You get the idea here. We got to just move everything up all the way through, right? So this is going to go to the 4th, not the 5th, but the 4th. They end on Sunday,
Okay.
open on Monday, right? 5th, yeah. So yeah, just do all those things.
Okay, now I'm in February, so it would be 11. Please double check me as I go, and I'll just do them all. Okay, open on 12. Okay, 18. Okay, 19. 25.
Yep, good. And then save.
Can I ask why are there not 7? Because there's 7 weeks.
So there's only there's 6 adaptive homeworks, and then in the 7th week there's a final, and the thing that's called the practice final does count for their homework that week, but
Okay.
it's non-adaptive, so it's not in the adaptive part.
Okay.
Okay, so sort these by type again. Now we got to take care of the non-adaptive parts. We got to do sort of the same thing. So
Okay.
just sort them
So
by
I'm going to
type,
sort by type.
and then
Okay.
go down there and check all of the things that are like all the reviews and the final and all that stuff. Now this one is fortunately a little bit easier.
Okay. Final exam review and final, the whole bit.
Yep. So now click edit dates up at the top. And in this case, you can just move forward by 7 days, right? Because the 15th was, 7 days before your class starts. So this is a little bit easier than the other one.
Okay. Do I need to do set dates?
No, just not for now. I'll tell you where you might want to use that in a minute. So
Okay.
just apply. Okay, so this is usable as is. All right.
Okay.
Now here's where we can get into little nitty gritty details. So you can't do much with the homework, but click into like topic review 1. So now here's going to be some places where you just have to think, not the homework, but go down. Yeah, not the homework. This you'll pretty much never change.
Okay.
But yeah, click the topic 1 review. And so here the thing, so the way it's currently set up, you see there's some late penalties. Now these are our personal preferences, right? So we allow late work to be turned in. There's this thing called final submission date. Now in my classes, I make the final submission date 4 days after the class ends for all of these assignments, right? So I give them a few days after the class ends to get a little bit of work in. So these guys pass if they make a D, right? So it often gets up to the last week of class and they have like 560 points, right? They need 600, right? So if they could just go back and do enough work to get those 40 points, they won't have to retake the class, right?
Okay.
So I tend to give them this extra little buffer at the end to rush in there and try to get some extra work done if they can, right? That's the idea. But I'll show you how you can set all those at once. You don't have to do this. But the other things you can change. Here it's just, we just apply the penalty to the late questions and it's a 5% penalty. In my case, I actually make that a 10%. So these are things I change, right? So I actually make this a 10% instead of a 5% penalty for the quizzes.
What's best? If it's up to me, I'd rather keep it 5 my first
Yep,
time and be a
totally up to you. Yep.
be more generous. Okay.
Yep. I just want to make you aware of all this stuff here, right?
Okay.
And so, scroll on down. So I think we're actually not going to make any change here, but scroll on down. Oh, there is one. Oh, sorry. I'll show you one thing you might have to change in the future, but you don't have to do it right now. So scroll down just a little bit.
What about the final submission date? Because wouldn't that be in March sometime?
Yeah. So I'll show you how to do those all
Okay.
at once,
Okay.
right? So that's where we'll use that set date thing. In the future, we may require students to use that lockdown browser. You see where it says students must use lockdown browser. So in my classes, I have to turn that on, right? I don't think you need to turn it on yet. And probably what's going to happen is eventually when I make the next master template, I'll just turn it on for everybody, right? But you might want to be aware that it's there, okay?
Okay.
Because again, this is a technology issue. Some students have some issues. There's no way to individually change the setting for students, right? So if you have a bunch of students with issues, you might have to turn it off for the whole class. But to be honest, I've never had an issue that a student couldn't figure out when I said, just go call tech support and figure it out, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, usually they figure it out. The biggest thing is something called S mode, and the lockdown browser is not a safe application for Windows. So they have to turn off S mode. They can't turn it back on. Some students get mad about that. Anyway, that's the sort of thing you have to, those are the kind of tech issues that come up, which is really best just to say contact GCU tech support and have them deal with this, for you.
Okay.
Don't try to do too much tech support, right?
Okay.
Anyway, you can just, I don't think we actually change anything, so you can just push cancel or save. I don't think we changed anything. Anyway, just be aware that all these kinds of settings are there.
Okay.
Go down to final and final review. So in the final review, that's like a homework, right? So click that one, like we just did the. So I think the default here is not to have the late submission set. Right now, I enable the late submission in my class. If you want that, you would have to click allow late submission. So we can just go through it once. We'll just set it to 5% like you had the other one, right? So just click allow late submission. You can say apply penalty. And now you can, instead of saying entire assignment, you can say just late problems. All right, and then 5%. And then instead of total possible score, you can say on the earned score, right?
Okay.
And so that matches the previous settings, but there you get to practice doing the settings. So again, now the final exam review is like a homework, right? So this one is going to play the role of a homework. So basically we're just setting it up like that. Now you can go down and push save. So this one we actually did change.
Okay.
And I believe if you click on final exam, I don't remember, I think there's no, click on that one. I think you might want, if you want to do it, you gotta do the same thing again, right? If you want to if you want to allow them to have that extra little bit. And I would, because that's 100 points. And if they don't get it done and they have that extra 4 days, that can definitely mean the difference between passing and not passing, right?
And it was late questions only?
That's what I do, but they actually only get to take this once, so it probably doesn't really matter, right? And then you can choose that to be 5, and you can do just the earn score, right? That's a little better for the students.
Okay.
And then make sure you save it at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, now sort them and then click all the reviews and stuff. So we'll deal with the setting the final submission date all at once.
Okay.
So now just click on all those things again.
The
Not the
topics?
not the homeworks, the reviews.
Okay.
Everything that's not a adaptive assignment.
Okay.
So all those things. Another thing you might notice is everything's set to open, right? So students can work ahead. The way things are currently set up,
Okay.
right? If you wanted to change that, you could change that too, right? I like just letting them work when they want to work. It's only 7 weeks anyway. So now you can click edit dates.
Okay.
And now we can choose set dates instead of shift dates. And then unclick the start date and due date. So we're just going to change the final submission date. No, leave that one. Unclick the other two, yeah. But no, we don't want to change those. And now, do you know the day on which your class ends? You might want to check in the class real quick. You can just click on the tab, the class resources up there. And then it says March 10th, right? So March 10th.
Okay.
So now go back to the ALEKS tab.
I don't know if I can see. Oh, there we go. Okay.
So now click on the calendar there and go to March. Okay, so see, I would set it for the 14th. That's what I do, right? So I give them those extra few days at the end. And then apply. I think, trying to think, I think for setting up ALEKS, that's it, right? So the rest is going to be setting up stuff in Halo, right? So you've got your ALEKS set up now, right? They should
Okay.
be able to access it. I'm going to share my screen.